Very funny dude. He's part of a comedy group called the Four Horsemen. You might have heard of them. They have a show once a month at Surfside 7 called the Names Are Difficult, Names Are Hard, Names Are Something. Find Erik on Facebook. Find the Four Horsemen on Facebook, Twitter. They're everywhere. Four funny dudes, and we're very lucky, very fortunate to have one of them here with us tonight. One of my favorite guys, one of my favorite comedians. Let's give it up for Erik Lindstrom, everybody.
Thank you. You guys having a good time tonight? Fantastic. Thanks for coming out. Sweet. So it's good to hear. As Weston was saying, I'm going to tell some jokes tonight that may push some boundaries, and by may, of course, I mean will. Especially if you're one of the few people in the room that happen to have feelings. And I want, this is important to me, I don't want anyone to feel like you can't be offended, because that's your right as a human. That's your right. You can be offended by anything you want, and I respect that. But these aren't jokes. So if you're offended by anything I say tonight, that's cool, but that's what we call in the industry a personal problem. And I wish you the best of luck working that shit out on your own. I don't believe in offensive jokes. I don't believe they exist, because all jokes can offend, because everyone's offended by different things. Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean it's offensive, right? You can be offended by sunshine if you want to. Doesn't mean sunshine's offensive. It just means you're an idiot. And that's cool, because sunshine doesn't exist to offend idiots. It's just there, and if you don't like it, sit in the shade. I write my jokes for the amusement of the people who get them, not to piss off the people who don't. So if I say anything you don't like, just try to remember, that joke maybe wasn't written for you. It was written for the rest of us to laugh at your expense. So, now we have an understanding. Lock the doors? Good. I just went to Disneyland, California a couple months ago, which was a lot of fun. Took my kids out there. Yeah, kids, I'm straight, imagine that. I'm as surprised as you are. Spoiler alert for everybody who is still playing hipster or homo. I know how frustrating it can be when someone gives away the answer. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's a fun game. You go out in public, you find a guy who looks like me, and you try to figure out if he's gay or a hipster. It's a lot of fun. I played too. I was walking down the street the other day, and I saw this dude in the store window. I was like, yeah, look at that fat. Oh, that's me. That'd be me. I'm not gay, nor am I a hipster. I actually stopped sucking dick way before it was cool, so... I was only ever doing it ironically in the first place. It's not gay if your eyes are closed, right? Well, that's what I was taught at church. Well, that and keep your fucking mouth shut. This is what God wants. But I'm kidding. I don't go to church. I'm an adult. I'm not gay. I'm heterosexual, but I still identify as a faggot. I feel like that's definitely the right word for me. Because if you really think about it, most of the qualities that we associate with homosexuals, positive and negative, really don't have anything to do with sex. It's all social and behavioral. So I think it doesn't really matter who you fuck behind closed doors. We can all agree my dad's obviously not proud, right? That's clear. So I'm a straight faggot. Not metrosexual, by the way. That's a different thing. A metrosexual is a guy who will suck your dick, but he won't swallow. That's not straight. That's just bad manners. So I'm not metrosexual, I'm a straight faggot, which I kind of feel sounds a little more badass than it is. You know, it's got like a gangsta-ass ring to it. Like, yo, dog, I straight faggot, you heard? Some OG shit, I'm gonna get straight faggot up this bitch. Like Drake, he's a faggot, the rapper. He's fucking Rihanna, but he was on Degrassi. That's the faggotiest thing I ever heard of. Man, he must have climbed up that totem pole ass first. Started as a bottom, now he's here. So much like Drake, I'm a straight faggot. And that's cool, because I was born this way. This is how God made me. I don't have a choice. It's not a choice, guys. Sexuality isn't a choice. You think I choose to have to come out as heterosexual every night? That's not fun. Do you think it's enjoyable for me to have to talk to a group of strangers every night and explain why I can't change my own oil, but I still like pussy? No. It's not a dating strategy. When girls say they like a guy who's in touch with their feminine side, they just mean a guy who's not going to rape them. They don't want a guy who is a feminine side. Right, ladies? You don't want a guy who's going to get you home, take your pants off, and go, really? That bra with those panties? You're not going to make a fucking effort? All right. I see you're a shave once a day kind of girl, but that's cool. I like a pussy with 5 o'clock shadow. It's not fun to be me. Thankfully, I'm married. If I was single, I think I'd be one of those guys who just pretends to be gay and then fucks fruit flies and fag hags. That would probably just pretend it's my first time every time. Oh, what do I do with that? then blow her mind and be like, oh, beginner's luck. So I'll have to do that. But I can't be gay because I don't like dick and I don't like musicals. So what are you going to do? This is where I always lose the gay guys, the women in the crowd. I fucking hate musicals. How do you take two wonderful things like film and music, combine them both, and fuck them up? It's like putting bacon and ice cream and it tastes like dog shit. What the fuck did you do? Musicals are terrible. So now I'm in this weird position where I'm getting gay bashed by my straight friends because I wear tight pants and straight bashed by my gay friends because I don't like Cher. Apparently that's very important criteria to them. I was doing a show a couple months ago. This guy came up to me afterward, this gay guy, and he's like, are you sure you're not gay? And I was like, well, I certainly fucking hope so, because I'm married with 3 kids, so I got a lot of explaining to do. I'm going to have to write a whole new intro. I was like, no. And we were talking for about an hour and a half, and at one point I mentioned I don't like Cher, and he goes, oh shit, you are straight. Yeah, dude, thanks for getting on board. But I love the idea that that's the password to heterosexuality, is not liking Cher, just in case you ever have to prove it sometime. If you find yourself in a sticky situation, just take the dick out of your mouth and be like, ugh, can you turn this off? I hate Cher. And I'll be like, oh my god, he is straight. This video's going to Broke Straight Boys. Did a lot of research to make that reference. Glad it still gets a laugh. That's fucking weird, man. Like, I always think of that scene. Well, I don't always think of that scene in Brokeback Mountain, but I enjoy it. Where they get done fucking and Heath Ledger's like, I ain't a queer though. And you're like, no, why would we think that? But it would be much better if at the end of it, like, the Cher is playing in the background and he comes and rolls off and he's like, I fucking hate this song. It's a little bit more believable. That's all I'm trying to say. So anyway, I was taking my kids to Disneyland. Let's finish some stories that I started 5 minutes ago. And holy shit, are there a lot of fat people in Disneyland. Have you guys ever been there? They're like a new fucking species. You can see where they got the inspiration for WALL-E. I thought it was a prop, and then I realized they're not just in Tomorrowland, they're fucking everywhere. It's Anaheim, California. They outnumber Mexicans 16-1. People say obesity is an epidemic. It's not. It's the standard. The epidemic is how many of those fat cocksuckers are rolling around on motorized carts. With a box of popcorn in one hand and a turkey leg in the other. It's like a fucking school of fish at type 2 diabetes on wheels. It's terrible. I saw this fat little girl. She's probably like 12 years old coming out of the Winnie the Pooh ride. No irony. And she's like 150 pounds. She's wearing this bright pink shirt that matched her face perfectly because apparently in the 90-degree heat she was overheating like an 87 Honda because she had run out of Coca-Cola coolant. And standing right next to her, a fine, upstanding gentleman himself was her father. And by upstanding, of course, I mean that he was complaining vocally that there were no available bench seats for him to sit down on. And he's standing there and he's got a shirt that says Dads Against Daughters Dating. I was looking at his daughter like, yeah, dude, we all are. Nobody wants to fuck that, trust me. Even pedophiles have standards. That's also pretty surreal when I was out there. It was the morning that Maya Angelou died, which was really sad, obviously. And but it was sort of poetic because I was walking down the little hall and I saw a rose that grew through the concrete get run over by a fat ass on a rascal. And I thought, if that isn't a commentary on American culture, I don't know what the fuck is. A lot of interesting shit. Let's see, speaking of white trash, and American culture, we're going to have to talk, this is going to divide the audience a little bit, it's definitely going to divide the audience tonight, but it's okay, you're adults, you can handle it. But we need to talk about the latest form of retardation that is sweeping the nation, culminated in the recent trend of open carrying weapons in public. I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're laughing, because you're not going to like this. Is your dick that small that you can't just buy a Ford F-150 like a normal redneck? You got to strap a gat to your thigh like Laura fucking Croft? Are we raiding tombs today? What is this, 1860 in fucking Tombstone? Where are you going with that shotgun? Put the shit down. Leave your toys at home. And I'm not anti-gun. I want to clear my way here. I'm a libertarian. If you want to own a gun, get a fucking gun. Any gun. Fully automatic 50 caliber assault rifle. Get a rocket launcher. You can build a goddamn compound like David Koresh. I don't frankly give a fuck. I don't care what gun you have, and I don't care why you have it. Doesn't fucking matter to me as long as you're not shooting people. I don't give a shit. I don't care if you're painting still lifes or collecting them or putting them on your wall or jerking off to it. Doesn't matter. I like to put the barrel up my ass, listen to Cat Scratch Fever, and put on Duck Dynasty while I polish my rod. Good for you. Some people have guns, some people have dildos.
We'll do it together.
But you know what people with dildos don't do? Carry them around in public in a flaccid fucking dog holster.
Speak for yourself.
Fair enough. It's like, dude, we're all very impressed that you have a gun. We're impressed you, despite Obama, you've gone through the strenuous process of being 18 so you could buy your gun. We know how hard that was for you. We're all very impressed. Now fucking take your toys and leave them at home. My son loves his Superman heroes. He has got little action figures, he plays with them all the time, and when we go to Target, he wants to take them with him, because he's 2, and that's what 2-year-olds do. You're 45, Jethro, leave the fucking toys at home. The other day I was reading this article about like these 15 guys that, like 15 angry white Timothy McVeigh looking motherfuckers, walk into a Target with AR-15 strapped to their back, you know, just in case a mass shooting is going to break out in the pet food aisle, or a black kid's trying to buy Skittles and iced tea. And first of all, I think we can all agree, what the fuck are they doing in Target in the first place? Them's Walmart folk. Those motherfuckers don't shop at Target, that's why we do. So we don't have to watch on the Congress of Failure. Walmart's like a fucking strip club. No matter how trashy and pathetic you feel, you are not the trashiest one there. So take your guns to Walmart, where do you expect to see that fucking shit, and leave us at Target by ourselves and we don't have to look at your fucking toys in public. That's all I have to say. I'm glad you have a sense of humor about it. I don't want to be shot. This is how I rationalized it, deciding to do that bit before I came on stage, though. I was like, if he pulls the gun on me during this bit, he kind of disproves the point that it's safe to carry guns in public. So go ahead and tell the fucking 5-minute joke and hope you don't get shot. That was my rationale. So let's change it up a bit. I recently had a brand new baby girl back in November, which is a lot of fun. Thank you. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. She's my first girl. I got 2 little boys, and I haven't fucked them up, so I figured let's raise the stakes, right? And having a girl is crazy, man, because it's like, what do you do with the girl? When they're little. You know, once they're older, you teach them the important things in life. Don't get fat, your self-worth's based on a man. You know, all that good shit. But once they're little, it's like, what do you do? And it turns out they're just like dolls. You just dress them up in clothes. And if you didn't think I looked gay before, you should see how I dress this little girl. Oh, she's fucking adorable. I got her little dresses with matching tights and boots and boot socks and high-low skirts and skinny jeans. I'm getting her ears pierced like a Mexican baby. Been up all night on Pinterest watching Project Runway. Like, I get what he's going for, but that is so not high fashion. The only thing that's really weird for me about having a girl is changing the diapers. Because, as I said, I got boys, and I'm the oldest of 3 boys, that's all I know, and you can't fuck up changing a boy. There's no risk of accidentally shoving shit into a dick hole. It doesn't happen. Doesn't matter how you do it, you scrub back to front, front to back, side to side, pinch and roll, doesn't matter. You have one job, get the shit out of the wrinkles in the ball sack. That's all you gotta do. The harder you scrub, the more they just go Girls, it's like digging up fucking dinosaur bones. You got a brush and a monocle. Dr. Grant's behind you, terrifying some kid with a raptor club. You gotta fold the wipey up into an origami crane and use the beak to pick shit pellets out of the labia flaps of the world's tiniest vagina. It's brutal. Boys just piss in your face, which I think is cute, to be honest. You only catch it in the mouth 2 or 3 times before you get your shit together and start to see the warning signs. Besides, if you haven't been pissed on, you got no business having kids. You got a whole lot of single life to live. I ain't afraid of piss. And here's what I'll tell you, girls pee too, but there's no fucking warning. At least with boys, you got that 2-second window, the air hits their dick, they get that little hard on, you throw the diaper right back on top. That's how you know you ain't getting wet. Girls, they just like, there's no warning, it just pours right down the front of their vaginal like those water curtain fountains they have at the bank. And soaks fucking everything. You know what else they do? They projectile shit like a rocket. I call it shotgun asshole. My daughter fired shit 3 feet out of her ass like birdshot on my fucking bookshelf. I had to throw away 3 books on parenting. At least when boys piss, they have the decency to keep it in one room, you know? It's straight up and down. It's like an onside kick. Even if you miss your window, you grab the diaper and catch it like this. Girls, there's no fucking warning in this shit. It's like they're going for the fucking Hail Mary pass in the last 3 seconds of the game and just fire it across the goddamn room. I put in football references for all the guys I lost in the Pinterest references earlier. Try to retain my masculinity a little bit. Of which I have none. So I got a vasectomy. Segue. Obviously. For those of you guys who don't know how it works, basically this. You have these 2 lines, they're called the vas deferens, that run from your balls where your sperm is made to your prostate where the semen's made. The 2 hook up, they carpool down the dick, out the end, and ideally onto her face. So when you get the vasectomy, what they do is they go in and they slip the vas and they cauterize the ends. Yeah, comfortable, right? And then they seal it up, and then your body stops making sperm, and then your jizz is just for show, and then you can spray it all over the room, and it saves a lot of money on abortions. So I went in to get my vasectomy, and They don't put you under, which is fucking bullshit, because I was put under for my wisdom teeth. If they're going to hack up my cock, I should be able to be put fucking to sleep, right? That sounds reasonable. No, it's a local, and they use very, very little anesthetic because it swells really bad. So they use just enough to make the incision, then they put the needle up the incision, and use just enough so that they can snip the fucking vas. And the doctor said it's going to feel a lot like getting kicked in the nuts. I wouldn't know, because apparently that kicked in the nuts feeling is what happens when the medical student being trained by the resident, being trained by the real doctor, gets your anesthetic right. When she doesn't, it feels a lot like somebody chopping up your cock with no fucking anesthetic. But I don't have to use condoms anymore, so there's a plus. I fucking hate condoms. They're the worst thing ever. And I'm not anti-safe sex. I think you guys should have safe, although the risk is half the fun. But I'm not saying you shouldn't have safe sex, but fuck it, we have more than condoms now. Technology has evolved. We have pills, we have shots, we have Nuva rings, we have copper wiring, that little IUD where you put the fucking... There's abortions. I mean, you shouldn't be using them. It should be your primary form of birth control, but once a month. I mean, if you're at Planned Parenthood every week with a fucking punch card, that's too much. You need to take it down a notch. Fucking uterus look like one of those laundry bags you wash delegates in. Next time you get a pap smear, your doctor will be like, what the fuck happened to you? Did you fall to the temple floor in an Indiana Jones movie? I knew that joke was going to hit. I like it anyway. Buckle up. It's going to get worse. So yeah. So abortions are fun. Anyway. I'm going to close on this story. This is about the first time I ever got fired from a show. First time, I say, not only because I'm a professional. And I told this story a couple months ago, and I got the weirdest, most stereotypically Fort Collins complaint that I've ever gotten after a joke, which is that I was disrespectful to a local business. Is that not the most Fort Collins fucking complaint you've ever heard in your life? Here's what happened. I used to run an open mic showcase at the Alley Cat here in town. You guys know the Alley Cat, right? Yeah, shittiest place in Fort Collins. For those of you who don't know, it's a 24-hour coffee house that doesn't serve liquor. So essentially, it's become a really hot hangout spot for high school students and people who rape high school students. That's basically the demographic that is the Alley Cat. And I ran a show there for a couple months, and one night they double booked us with this like all-girl acoustic kind of folky jam granola rock armpit hair and Birkenstocks kind of bands, right? You know what I'm talking about. They look like they came from Boulder. I don't think I have to go into detail. So they double booked us with her and this band, and I went up to the guy at the front. I was like, "Dude, what's going on?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, they double booked you. Thanks, you've been a lot of help." So I went over to the girl and I explained her the situation, who I assume was the leader of the band, based on her lack of bra and familiarity with basic hygiene. And I was like, "Look, apparently they double booked us. We're doing a comedy show downstairs. You guys obviously have your show upstairs. I think it'd be cool. I'm going to tell my audience that you guys are playing a show up here, and if you guys want to say there's a comedy show downstairs, that would be awesome. We can help each other out." And she gets super aggressive, as you would expect, like she's trying to prove her fucking stereotype. She's like, "What, am I stupid? I'm not going to limit my audience for your show," which is a little cunty, I thought. I mean, it was a valid complaint, but a little cunty. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I went downstairs, and as promised, I said at the beginning of my show, I was like, "Look, we're doing a comedy show down here. If you guys would rather listen to shitty music, the lesbian Dave Matthews Band is playing upstairs. So if you want to learn how to like braid your pubic hair or dread it or whatever, I think they're playing Fish songs. I can't hear it, but that's what it smells like. Because it's a waste of water to wash your cooch. Conserve. Go green." Now apparently, that wasn't the band's real name, which I thought was ironic because it was a lot more fitting than the like Celestial Love Ship or whatever faggoty hippity shit they came up with. But, so they didn't appreciate that very much. But also they were an acoustic band, so they were like trying to play over us, but the louder they played, I had a fucking PA, so I just turned the volume up. And then the staff would come down, they turn the PA down, and then they go upstairs, and I turn the PA back up, and I turn the amp upward towards the stairs. I was very petty. Long story short, word got back to the owner who felt we could have been a little more respectful. But his biggest problem is that we never made any money, because you want to make money when you have a show in your place. But they didn't serve alcohol, so we used to just sneak over to the pickle barrel next door and sneak drinks in like high school students, because we're comics and that's what we do. Apparently, here's where we went wrong. We weren't actually high school students, and therefore not rapeable enough for the patrons of the Alley Cat. So that's what happened. All right, you guys have been a lot of fun. That story was supposed to land stronger, but it didn't. I probably killed things that abortion joke in more ways than one, but that's all right. We're going to carry on, and you guys are going to have a lot of fun. So thank you guys very much for coming out. You
Keep it going for the ever thought-provoking Erik Lindstrom. Thinking a lot of thoughts right now. Like, that fucking guy. The nerve of that guy. Or, oh my God, I shouldn't have to wear condoms anymore. He's right! You guys have made it. Give yourselves, first off, a round of applause.